I've never believed in being a salary earner right from a young age. Like, I don't understand the concept of working for 30 days and getting paid once, Young people, you can work for the community and make money. Don't let anybody gaslight you into working for free. Now, what you should understand is there's a period to learn, there's a period to earn. Is understanding that I can learn from this person, and when I get that knowledge, it's my time to earn. The older I get, the more I understand why advice from my parents were very simple. Don't follow bad friends. As a child, we expected advice to be really intensive, but they have just gone through life so many times, they know.
What was it? Tell me more about that, please.
Is the African possibility. Your narrative starts now. Your narrative starts now. Welcome to the podcast.
Today on the African Possibility podcast, I am joined by an inspiring cultural innovator, entrepreneur, and community advocate, Osamagbe Izevbigie. Born in Lagos, Nigeria, Osama, as he is popularly called, began his journey behind the scenes of Africa's entertainment industry, working as a sound and lighting technician alongside global stars like Wizkid and Burna Boy. But after relocating to Wales, he recognized something missing: stronger platforms celebrating African and Caribbean culture and identity. Rather than wait for change, he decided to create it. That vision led to the founding of AfroWales, a dynamic social enterprise that has helped reshape Wales' cultural landscape through music, storytelling, and community events. In this conversation, we talk about what it means to carry Africa proudly while building something meaningful abroad, the sacrifices behind leadership, and the courage required to challenge cultural invisibility in unfamiliar spaces. This is not a story about events or entertainment. This is a story about vision, legacy, and the power of one person deciding to create the change they once wished existed. So settle in and let's get into it. You started out working with big names like Wizkid and Burna Boy. Being that close to the action early enough in life, what did that experience teach you about how the music and live events industry really works?
Well, that was when I started getting paid for it. I started off in the church.
Oh, really?
My father is a pastor.
Oh, as always.
So my dad owns a church, and my brother plays the keyboard, and my sister used to sing. And I tried to learn the instruments, but I never just got it. So I started doing sound and audio in the church, and I got very good at it very quickly. But because it was a growing church, right, like a small community, well, not small, it was a community church. So I undermined how well I'd gone, how good I was. But at the age of 14, I had the opportunity to set sound for a wedding, one of the Bello Osages, and it went very well. And I decided I was going to study sound engineering at a very young age. I just loved the. My father didn't have any of it. I went on to study industrial physics at Covenant University. I dropped out in my first year. It wasn't for me.
Wow.
Yeah, he wasn't pleased at all. He reported me
Okay.
to one of his fathers in the Lord, Pastor Wole Olade. And then Pastor Wole told him, the funny thing is my own son is studying sound engineering. So I went on to work with SciTech for 2 years, from 17 to 18. I was very young as well, 16, so 17 to 18 years, 16 there, bro. Which is why I got to work with all the big names, and being exposed to that scene that young sort of shaped how I saw the industry and music and entertainment and event production.
Oh, that's quite interesting. So, I mean, can you tell us any of those events with Wizkid or Burna Boy?
Yeah. I think with Wiz, we had set up, Are came in, his manager, to give us this stuff that Wiz wears on his mic. And when he walked in, he has the aura of a king. To be honest, he's with David. I remember the first time David was coming, before he got
That's
into
Davido.
Yeah, Davido. Before he got into the venue, the noise that accompanied him was crazy. When he says he walks around with a lot, he really walks around with so many people.
Yeah.
Burna, I remember Burna was native land. Skepta was there. And that was 2018. So the year he had the Outside album, and it was really nice. So it was Savage. Simi Sola, the launch of our album was my first ever paid job. I got paid 5,000 naira. Yeah, and I was happy. I was excited. I didn't care about the money. I just love the fact that what I'm doing is actually paying me, like, because back home the creative scene is not maybe now it has changed, but then a young person wanting to do stuff like rigging and not going to school was not seen as a cool thing. My father didn't have any of it, but the fact that I was getting paid means there's light here, like there's hope. Yeah, it was nice.
Oh, that's interesting. So before the titles, before the business, you were just someone fascinated by sound and live experiences. What was it about music and energy in a room that pulled you so deep?
It was church. Because I very quickly noticed that the worship session felt different when we ended, like lights. And I was like, I started to notice that the bigger churches had lights, sound, screens. They had things that could set the mood for worship.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, because we don't have any of that, sometimes it's not the same. And I started to realize how production can affect how people receive the message, right? So slowly but surely, I understood that there's more to the experiences and the message than just the room. How you set it, how you curate it, it all matters. And my father, at a young age, he just allowed me to do stuff. Like the very first concert I did was in Ibafo, our church in Ibafo, Dominion Voices. And I did the whole marketing and stuff. Well, I said then I didn't know it was marketing. I just thought it was common sense, right? We had to print like 5,000 flyers. We're going around social media ads, all of that. I see that's what I do for a living now, but I started doing it at a very young age because I was the only one that had to do it. And I'm really grateful for that experience. So, the privilege to serve.
Yeah. What I've noticed that most guys in this industry, most start from the church, like church stuff.
Yeah, it's like it's your first hands-on experience. Like I believe so much in service.
Yeah.
Whether it's in church or outside church, I believe in mentorship, being under a mentor. And I think the church is the first place where you can work for free and gain so much experience. So whether you're an artist or anyone in the creative scene, at that young age, especially in Nigeria, the church is the place. Here, there are so many funded talent pipelines. So a young person can go to a government-funded program and learn about light and sound and music. But in Nigeria, we don't have that, so many opportunities. So the church then takes that role.
Oh, interesting. I'll come back to the mentorship thing you just mentioned.
Yeah.
So moving from Nigeria to Wales is a very big shift, and it's now from Wales to the ends of the UK.
It's the end of the world.
Across Europe, obviously. So what did that transition really feel like in those early days, beyond what people see on the surface today?
As when I wanted to leave Nigeria, I was just tired. I didn't see myself represented in Nigeria as a whole, like, because I questioned so many things.
But you were at that point, you were doing great stuff already.
Before I left Nigeria, I was 18 and I made my first millionaire from school branding. Because my mom owns a school and I did the branding for her school for free. Obviously, I used to actually charge her like 50,000 or something. And one of my uncles, Uncle Noma, he saw the thing. He loved it. He referred me to one of his friends who owns a financial firm. I did a roll-up banner for him. He loved it as well. And he said his wife is opening the school. Do I want to do the school branding? I'm like, yeah. And they loved it and they called me back. And when I saved up the money, it was 1 million naira. I bought shares. I dashed it to my mother. I donated my cameras and stuff to the church before I left. But I didn't really dip the impact it will have, because I came here at a very young age, and I think I just believed that there was something for me in a system that works, because what Wales has offered me is a system that rewards hard work. In Nigeria, so many people are talented and they are hardworking, but the system is almost as if it's fighting them. It's almost as if the system in Nigeria today does not actually reward like talent and hard work. But you're in a country where people recognize you for whatever value that you offer. And for me, that's been a major shift, understanding principles, morals, there's a way of doing things, there's systems, you know. But yeah, the biggest one for me is just that, man. And growing up sometimes without like my family and all. Because now, well, I would say growing up because obviously I spent 19 years in Nigeria, but entering adulthood without them, having to make decisions on the go, like real life decisions, like dealing with immigration, university, entrepreneurship. Because I started my business while in university, right? So dealing up with all of that at that young age. Well, to be fair, it was fun because in hindsight, I'm like, that was a lot of work. But even right now, what we're doing, we are happy because we love it. There's a dream and passion for it. So
Yeah, I think that's the most important part, like the passion for it.
yeah,
You're just living out your dreams. You're
yeah,
living out what you love. So at 2 a.m., Osama is ready. At 4 a.m., he's ready.
yeah. Like,
That is it. You're not like that on Monday morning. Oh my God, it's Monday again.
yeah, like I don't even have days of the week because like you just work. You work when you need to get anything done. You just do it. And I think a lot of that I'll attribute it to my dad. Like
Yeah.
you know, so my mom and dad have worked hard every day. Like since the day I've been born, my father has been working. So I grew up. I remember when I left school and I used to stay in the house, and he'd be like, "Why are you home? I have nothing to do today." Like, nah, as a man, you shouldn't be home. Just go to the school, get out, just take your things and go to your mom's school. Just go to the office. And I didn't realize, but it really had like a massive impact on me. Because even days when like there's no motion, there's no money or something,
Yeah.
just be out there. Because like take the chance, put yourself in the right spots, you know. So I think that stuff really shaped the way I move now.
Yeah, well, that's quite interesting. And you've talked about noticing a gap in cultural representation when you arrived here.
Yeah.
What exactly did you see that made you think something needs to change now?
Yeah, so I went to the university school club. I was in the library. Victor told me to come to the club. And the music that was playing was drum and bass. So but every other person there, I could see the Caribbean brothers, Africans, Indians, and I was like, okay, maybe this night is for drum and bass. And then I came back and it's the same kind of music, and like the music does not match the people. Like the room is very diverse, but the music was very homogeneous.
Yeah.
So I spoke to the SU, and they were not having it. They were like, "Yeah, we'll look into it. Speak to Mr. Asher. You know, Mr. Asher is the guy that programs for University of South Wales." And I kept sending emails, and nothing happened. But 2020, the death of George Floyd,
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter. Suddenly, every institution has a mirror in front of them, and I got an email in the summer saying we should come and they want to do something now and have a conversation. And we kickstarted it, the first ever African Caribbean event in the history of the school. I remember Mr. Ash told us to be conservative with the numbers, that we'll probably sell about 100 tickets. We did 500, and suddenly the school realized
that was the first one.
The very first one, yeah, because the demand was overwhelming, but there was nobody catering to the market.
Yeah.
Because as of then we used to have house parties, and so like, but nobody really pushed the economic value.
Right.
Because most times when we want to push the culture, we always go through social good. But the culture has value, it has economic value. And I think that's what the school saw, because your bar spend did not go down, it probably doubled.
Exactly,
Because we buy in bottles and stuff, and they told us to keep doing it, and we did so much more till I handed over to Daniel. To Danny, was the president, and now Tammy, who is the president, because I still keep in touch
with them,
with the ACS. And I saw Mr. Ash at the Immerse Festival, where OTID had a stand for. It was a full circle moment, seeing him. He approved my first event, and now I'm working with him at OTID, University of South Wales.
AfroWales started as a student thing, because just like you said now, now it's become something much bigger. At what point did you realize that this is no longer just an idea? This is something I must make big?
So like when we started, right, a lot of people just called what we're doing Club Night. So we're known as the boys that do clubbing events, right? But I listened to Ben Rapino, I think that's his name, the CEO of Live Nation. because I was really obsessed with Live Nation. I wanted to become like a Live Nation or something. And he's like, if you have 20,000 people in the room, what you're selling is not tickets, it's the community. Like you've just brought 20,000 people, 20,000 buyers that are primed to be there. And I'm like, you know what we're doing is not just club nights. This is my community, right? Because I know two people who have babies and both parents met at an AfroWales event. There's a child today that is born because your father and mother met at my event. That's community. It doesn't get greater than that, right? So you don't call it club nights. And I remember trying to book venues and there was talk about extra security. You know, there's a venue in Cardiff today, Friday. Simi created is bringing a DJ called Cocaina. 5 years ago, that venue told us they don't play Afrobeats. So we had to go through a lot to prove.
And today, what do they play?
Today, Afrobeats everywhere, boohoo, the rest of them.
Yeah.
But I feel AfroWales, when I realized that this is no longer just like a frenzy, it's my community. And as we're doing it, we realized there are more systematic things that we needed to address, from the movie industry, film, sports. Like we've collaborated, we got commissioned by Football Association of Wales for Comedy Unleashed, and it was a project for the Welsh women going to the Euros, you know, by UEFA, and was to get young girls from ethnic minority background to get into sports and stuff. And for me, that right there is my community. We've been commissioned by the NHS, you know, to talk about well-being, and we didn't do it from the angle they wanted. We went through cooking and dancing because that's where many people come to our events just to be happy, right? So I realized, you know, this for us is how we express ourselves, and this for us like is my community, and I have to be there for my own people.
Yeah, I think it's an African thing. I mean, that happiness, that's what we always exude.
Yeah.
Whenever an African is in the room, that's what he gives. That's what he brings. That happiness, that joy. And it's glad to know that you are doing it in the African way.
Like stick to it. Yeah, like it comes down to the minor things like bottle services.
Yeah.
And I remember the manager of it used to be called Prism, is now secretary. Like, why do we want the bottles on the table? I'm like, because it's culture. It's cultural. Yeah. It's a way of expressing that they have money.
Right.
And it's like, you know, a lot of them didn't get it. So they used to turn it into like plastic canisters and well, like, he comes with the sparkles and all. It's like minor things like that because it reminds people of home.
Yeah.
You know, but how do you explain that in an application that I need these things there? Well, yeah.
Interesting. So you said something powerful one time, that people often confuse visibility with impact.
Yeah.
Can you break that down a bit more? What does real impact look like for you?
Real impact changes lives, right? Now I've started working with like mega organizations. It's very easy for you to do a project, write a good report, and nothing has really changed. We're commissioned to go tell young girls that they can play one day for the Welsh female football team. But I realized that a lot of them, they'll be, oh yeah, I played very well till the age of 18 and then I became a referee. Why? Because there's no under 21 or under 23 female football club. I'm like, what? So I realized like you're telling me to do workshops and create impact, but the real win of them actually playing at the top level, there's no pipeline to get them there. So I wrote a petition to the Senate, and I'm like, we have to change this. They wrote back to us saying now they'll do trials once a year, but I'm not so comfortable with that. I want it to be regional. I want it to be multiple times because it's easy for you to give us a win when the win is not yours. A lot of people have settled down for a win that is not real. You know, your goal as a child was to be a football player. Why are you a referee now? You know, and you're not even a referee for the big leagues. They just give you something to hold on to.
Yeah.
So there's visibility. You can be everywhere and not making real impact. Real impact changes people's lives.
Right. I love that. It changes lives.
Yeah.
And that's what real impact is by every standard. You are not just creating events. You are building systems.
Yeah.
Platforms, pipelines, opportunities. What does it take to build something that really lasts?
I mean, taking ideas from nothing to something is rewarding. Yeah, like I remember when we did Tram Shed, I've always wanted to do Tram Shed, you know.
What's Tram Shed?
It's a music venue, it's a 1,000 capacity music venue. Because when I came, I didn't just like how things were done. Like the very first Nigerian Independence Day event I went to in Tiger, we had to go through the back entrance where they kept their bins. And I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, we can do proper events and put ourselves out there properly.
Yeah.
So, like, I used to tell people, like, why don't you speak to the council about what we're doing? Like, nobody wanted to just do it at a high level, right? So, taking things from concept all the way to the end, it takes grit, you know. Many people will fight you, and sadly, it will come a lot from your own community.
Yeah.
Yeah, like most of the battles I say it in all honesty, in Wales, I've never faced racism on like an institutional level. I've had one or two people maybe be racist to me and stuff, but like most times the barriers are in your head or from your own community. And why? They don't do it out of hate. Sometimes they project their fears on you.
Yeah.
You know, some they probably don't see themselves doing stuff like that. Or sometimes they wonder why should it be you doing it.
Yeah.
But if you're a person who feel like you have that calling, and most times you can't even help it, you just find yourself doing stuff like that, you would have to overlook a lot of things because you understand the goal.
Exactly.
You know, only you can see the bigger picture.
Yeah, the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned feeling like you didn't belong here at certain points.
Yeah.
And what did that experience teach you about identity, and how did it shape what you've built today?
Yeah, it's interesting because initially when I came, like I tried to fit in. Like, what should I wear? Where should I be? How do they speak? You know, do they understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you're quite young then.
Yeah, like, do they understand what I'm saying? Like, a lot of them love, like, in uni, everybody used to wear Nike tracks and stuff, but I didn't like that. You know, like, it was basic things like social cues. They would laugh at things that I don't understand why they're laughing. Like, so for a very long time, I tried to, but I think I just grew out of it and I realized I can't fake being me. You know, I'm going to be who I am, and if you like me for that, fine. If you don't, it's fine. You know, but now the funny thing is, I tell my people I'm a Welshman. You know, I identify with Wales a lot. Like I really love Wales. Wales is giving me an opportunity that sadly my own country cannot give me. You know, I look at where I am and I'm just grateful because it's taking people who have fought for systems like this, you know, the events we did at the Senate, I was standing in front. I was standing at the podium speaking to the former First Minister, you know, Heleth, who is current minister, guys from Universal Music, Art Council, Creative. And I'm thinking in my head, can this child of nobody email the former president and have him in the room in Nigeria? No, like, now I feel like I belong here. This society has accepted me. And sometimes, you know, even though I know I'm Nigerian and I have that culture, but I feel a very strong affinity
Connection,
to Wales. Yeah.
Great. Now you've gone from being part of production and to actually building platforms like AfroWales and OTID. What changed in your mindset when you moved from supporting the show to creating the stage?
One was entrepreneurship. Because when I was in uni, I've never believed in being a salary earner right from a young age. Like, I don't understand the concept of working for 30 days and getting paid once, you know.
Right.
So, I used my last year's school fees to bring Spyro when his song was hot, the one with Tiwa Savage. Who is your guy?
Oh, you hosted him here?
Yeah, in Cardiff. Yeah, we brought Spyro, brought LAX, Burna Boy's DJ, Young Bane, Kojo Funds, Fave, Ajabo Hustlers. While in uni, I was doing that, yeah. And it was mostly entrepreneurship and just getting stuff done. And also, like, I had a lot of people telling me, oh, as a black guy, the only thing you have to do is either get like a customer service job. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do and that's what you're comfortable with.
Exactly.
But don't make it a glass ceiling to say black people cannot be more than that. And I wanted to be more than that. So it was me telling myself, I came here with a dream of doing entrepreneurship, being a sound engineer, live event, promoter, although I've moved now to more than that. But I'm happy I never settled for less. It was hard, but I'm just happy that, well, it's still quite difficult. But
Yeah, you're still evolving.
Yeah, it's still
a lot of
evolving.
things are still changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So right now, with everything you're doing, events, ticketing, brand activations, what will you say actually drives success in today's music and event industry? Is it talent, is it marketing, community, or something else entirely?
I can't speak broadly about the entire music industry because that's very broad. But I would niche it down to what I know. Live events, promotion, especially if you're promoting like a niche genre like Afrobeats and stuff, it's capital intensive and there's almost no profit in it.
Hmm.
Like the biggest festivals, are probably losing money, you know. But being able to, the very first, like Flexits, right? The first guys that paid us for event sponsorship, Jay, former owner and founder of NaraBox, he paid us £7,000. And that was at a period where I refused to work, so I was broke. But I pitched to him that I could get you young people in Cardiff to download your app and do the promo video. And for the first time in the UK, I was paid for value. So I'm like, okay, there are other ways for me to approach events than just ticket sales. And that hunger forced my brain to open up to other channels. So if you really want to be in the festival market, think of other ways. Your people and your community is the driving force. It's just your foot in the door. When you get in, you have to think of other means to creatively generate income.
Oh, interesting. So with all of these events and stuffs, do you have any plan bringing, say, like having a real or big event for African guys?
Yeah, we had Flavor and Fino here last year.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Flavor is a massive artist. And next year, I can't say it now,
Yeah.
but the Black Horse Music Awards, Ify will be the founder. She's planning something quite crazy. And we are also planning a festival at the Utilita Arena. Yeah, the good thing is that I'm surrounded by dreamers now,
Right.
I'm surrounded by people who say, yes, we can. We don't know how we'll do it, but we're going to get it done. Yeah, 100%.
Interesting. A lot of people want to break into the music and entertainment space today, especially from African diaspora and communities. From what you've seen, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about the industry?
I think the first one for me was I could grow from promoting club gigs to being a major festival. It's two different things entirely. The festival market is capital intensive. There's a heavy monopoly behind it. If you do not have an investor or something like that, you may not get it. You will never actually make a living out of it.
Yeah.
The second thing is seek knowledge. There's a lot of smoke and screens, And the good thing is because I'm a nerd, so I never loved the lifestyle. I used to stand outside. Everyone that knows me can testify. I stand outside the club till our events finish. And since I've stopped doing club nights, you will barely see me in the club. Except it's somebody's event and I'm compelled to be there. Because I used to read about Live Nation. I used to read Live Nation's financial accounts. I listened to podcasts, very niche podcasts about live events and marketing. There's this book called The Sound Bible, right? They gave it to every intern when I worked at SciTech. I was the only one to read the book from start to finish. So I cared more about the business of live event than the lifestyle. I remember when we used to have parties then, all the guys would dress like flamboyantly. I'm like, I didn't care. I just cared about my numbers. So it made me realize very quickly that a lot of the people who were really flashy with it, they don't have the knowledge. Because I knew that looking at the top executives at Live Nations, a lot of them are financial analysts. It's the guys in suits that call the shots. It's the private equity firms that call the shots. It's the people in the partnerships that call it. It's the guys in the office. So I'm like, in the African scene, we tend to think it's the people who are in the club every day that, there's more to it. Gain knowledge, read about the industry and follow it well. if it's your passion, you eventually, do it, or work for free under somebody that has done it, And I say work for free. I know in my generation, a lot of people no longer want to serve,
volunteer, yeah.
Everybody starts in their first year and, they want to get paid. But I didn't grow up like that. One of the best things that has happened to me is the mentality of going into somewhere and say, please, what can I do? I want to learn. It has helped me in so many ways, Professor Uzo. Although we'll get into mentorship, but I have a lot to say about that. But it has really helped me. It has saved me years.
Yeah. What's popping on my mind is this idea. Two things you just said, and I want you to talk more about it. Volunteering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just going to do that work for free, even if it's not paying.
Yeah.
And secondly, learning. This learning should not be structured like pen and paper, should not be in book and all of that. You've mentioned listening to podcasts and I'm sure watching YouTube videos and all sort of apps and all those stuffs. So tell me more about it. Just these 2 points of volunteering and learning more. Yeah.
I think my final year in university, when I kind of realized uni is really nothing, like it's not worth it for me, because I would leave university work because I'm tired of reading, and I'll spend hours reading on things that I actually wanted to learn. So it's like, the knowledge is bigger than any university. Seek knowledge. And we're in the age where you can access knowledge like ASAP. So like, seek knowledge in whatever field you are in. It doesn't have to be structured learning. You don't have to have a library in your house to be knowledgeable. Now you can absorb information anyhow that you like. And when it comes to volunteering and service, like I said, like I grew up in the church, and I understand that people pay for value, but before they pay for value, you must show value, right? Take the disciples for. So most times I reference the Bible, because I grew up in the church and I'm a Christian myself. I read the Bible. I believe in Jesus. The disciples, Peter, I love the story of, he was scared in front of maids and he denied Jesus. When the Holy Spirit came upon him and he became more knowledgeable, he went to the chief priest and they said that these not fishermen. Something had happened between that process of him working with God, working with Jesus. And it's like, if you look at all of them, 12 people, they said, how will I get paid? Seek ye first the kingdom of God. It's like, I believe, like, I have a young person I work with now, Praise. If you watch this video, Praise, I mentioned your name, and she tells me, oh, Osama, there's this internship I'm doing. It's not yet. I say, stay there. Because while your mates are probably working on markets or something, you are gaining knowledge that will be useful. It will help you shorten this journey, right? Many things that people spend 20 years or 10 years laboring for, another person will tell you in 5 minutes. There's a course I paid for at the beginning of this year with Charlie Morgan, Imperium Acquisitions. I paid about 5 figures for the course. But there are certain things he told me about AI and digital marketing. There's no way you won't see it on the internet. People have been there, they've done that. So so when you're with them, the conversation could be so casual. Yes, the older I get, the more I understand why advice from my parents were very simple. Don't follow bad friends. As a child, we expected advice to be really intensive, but they have just gone through life so many times. They know that genuinely, evil association corrupts good manners. So it will take you 20 years to later grow up and be like, oh, they were right.
Yeah.
But as a child, it just sounded very simple, right? It's the same thing with mentors. Like sometimes I call my mentors, I'm like, I'm really angry, I'm going to do it. They're like, nah, don't do this. And later on, in hindsight, I'm like, wow, that would have been really bad if I did it that way. So you can get paid, but you only get paid for time
and value.
If you want to get paid for value, you need to learn how to create value. You need to work with people who have created value. It's to your own benefits. And you are not working for free. You are working for knowledge that you probably cannot pay for.
I like it when you say it shortens the time.
Shortens the time.
I mean, that is very, very key. We naturally will not see it that way.
Yeah.
Because all we want is just the money. We want the money.
Yeah.
The money. And that which you're looking for, you will not even get.
Nah, you will.
But when you invest in yourself,
100%.
in knowledge, in volunteering, in learning from those who have that knowledge before you. I'm sure that will come through. You will shorten that distance and make it.
And it is not like I don't like money. Oh, in my last podcast with Chop It Up, I said, young people, you can work for the community and make money. Don't let anybody gaslight you into working for free. Now, what you should understand is there's a period to learn, there's a period to earn. Is understanding that I can learn from this person, and when I get that knowledge, it's my time to earn. So I like money. Everybody wants to make money. I genuinely want to live a good life. But at the same time, I know that knowledge is powerful. My people perish for the lack of little knowledge. Like knowledge is very powerful. There are certain things I've done. If I know what I know now, like 2 or 3 years ago, I wouldn't have done this. So yeah.
So the more you learn, the more you earn.
100%.
Yeah.
The person, the CEO can do what the least person in the company does. But they've acquired so much knowledge that they will pay you to get that, so they have free time to do other things.
Yeah, exactly. So talking about mentorship and the need for it, why do you think young people today need mentorship? Or do you think it's not really necessary?
It's essential, especially within our community, because there are certain spaces we are getting into that, like my current mentor with the PRS, Eunice, she programs for the Mobile Awards, right? I am head of marketing for the Black Welsh Music Awards. She has gone through every single step I can probably take, right? When we communicate and all, I'm like, Eunice, this is what she says, don't worry, do this. I thought it's like a cheat code, basically, especially if you're open to your mentor is genuine. Like, I wish to be fair, I think my father was my first mentor because we didn't really have a generic father and son relationship. Because I started debating at a very young age. So my father and I used to have conversations about so many things at a young age. And that also shaped how I see a lot of things. But I think what mentorship does is your mentors will guide you. They will save you from mistakes that can be costly, and if you're lucky to have a very genuine mentor that cares about your growth and your journey, they would also hold your hand and take you to places that you might not get to on your own. And I've been very lucky with good mentors. I can't lie. God has been so faithful throughout this journey, from Professor Uzo, Bernie Davis, Eunice at the PRS, the power of family. I've just had people who have been genuinely interested in my growth at almost every stage of the journey. And I don't take their support for granted at all.
Yeah, so I need to say this here, that does the mentee have to put in some work?
100%. Because so much work.
There's a way we could just think that, okay, as mentees, just show up anyhow.
Nah.
You get somebody who is interested in you. But
if Bernie calls me, Professor Uzo calls me at 2 a.m. casually. Bernie calls me, Osama, if you're on Wednesday, I got this for you. I'm telling her I'm there. Right? I show up for them every time. Like, Professor, she's probably going to call me before this interview ends. I will talk every day.
Yeah.
Right? And I turn up for her anytime. And she does the same for me.
Yeah.
Right? It's give and take.
Yeah. So you need to put the work also as a mentee.
100%. Iron sharpness iron.
Exactly. Very important.
It goes 2 ways.
Yeah, because for me, I understand that mentors will not just want to commit to somebody who is not serious.
In fact, it took over a year before Professor Uzo was actually like, okay, this guy he's ready to learn.
Yes, ready to learn.
It took a year of me going to SPAS, turning up, sending more. I came up with this, man. What do you think? Oh, I did, before she actually opened up to me.
Yeah, so they need to see that effort. They
100%.
need to see that interest. They need to see that loyalty.
The commitment.
You really want this. Yeah, that's very important, because a lot of young people who will be listening to this now need to understand that you need to work on yourself.
Please.
You need to work on yourself, and then a mentor will be ready to sandpaper you, panel beat, and spray you off.
And the funny thing is that when people ask me, okay, how do I get mentors? If you reach out to, there's well, maybe it's just my case, but I've never reached out to anybody to say I need help, and I've said, and they say no, because they've gone through the journey. You're probably at a stage where they don't see you as a threat. You're young and starting. They look at you, they see that genuine excitement and love for the game. Some of them have been doing it for 20, 30 years. If you are really available, if you're genuine, if you're ready to work, they will most likely,
Right.
they'll most likely have a conversation, have coffee, talk about things. Yeah, works.
Yeah. Now, when you look ahead, say in the next 5 to 10 years, how do you see the music and live event space evolving, especially for African and diasporan communities and creatives? And where do you see yourself in that future?
So let's break it down. The diaspora, I don't know, Africa, interesting. Because when we were younger, people used to tour Africa, tour Nigeria, sorry. I remember, was it Star? Yeah, they used to tour Nigeria then. But we've not still seen a lot of like touring within Africa, like, putting out dates and stuff. And I know Live Nation has tried to do a couple activations in Nigeria that did not really work, although we built our own culture.
Yeah, but Star was doing well.
Yeah,
and I don't know
but
if they still do that up till now.
I don't know, man. I'll be honest, I can't tell because a lot changed for Afrobeats very quickly. And who knows what will happen in the next 5 to 10 years. And there's so many creators there doing amazing things. Like what Dari has done with live sports is incredible.
Ataladi?
Yeah, he's the owner of Live Sports, and the guys they put on a lot of the big gigs there. And even my former boss, CY, what he has done with event production, I kid you not, in Wales, I'm yet to see a bigger warehouse than what he had in Nigeria with the quality of equipment. So it's like, it's going to be interesting, but I genuinely cannot tell. Even 5 years ago, did I know I was going to be here? Maybe no. So I tend to keep the vision open, because you can't really predict certain things. We know it is going to end in praises and it's going to go well, but a lot can happen in 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, but you've got great visions and goals also.
Yeah, but I tend to set immediate goals because now I've seen the power of like compound interest.
Right.
Like there are certain things, certain conversations I'm having now that even as the last year, I didn't think it was possible. So we shoot for as high as you can get and try and do difficult stuff. You'll find yourself in very interesting places and you find yourself doing good things. But I always try to do hard things, Even if I don't achieve it, I'll learn a lot and I would have probably gone past to rest. Like what Elon said, write down your 5 years goal and try to do it in 6 months. I think that's what I do though. I think because most times people tell me, oh, this thing takes like 2 years. I'm like, nah, I want it done in like the next 1 month. So maybe that's why. That's why I try to compress. Like I am not really patient with things because I believe there's a smarter way to get it done. Like
but the point is it possible? Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Because just like you said, like Elon will say, if you compress that 5 years,
6 months,
6 months, is it possible? So humanly speaking, if it is possible, why not?
Yeah.
There could be challenges.
Even if you don't get it done in 6 months, you might get it done in a year or two. However, you've compressed time.
Exactly.
So
and you've taken some steps.
100%.
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of people go through difficult transitions, but not everyone turns that into something meaningful. What do you think allowed you to channel that into building something like AfroWales?
His mindsets. And again, I'm an immigrant in a country where I have nobody. It's either I win or I win.
I do it or not.
Yeah, like it's I win or I win. Like as right now there's nobody for me to cry to. I can't call my parents no more. My parents are the ones calling me and saying, this is this, I need this, I did that. Right? It's like I had to grow up quickly to take responsibility for my life. I'm no longer a child. So, and I realized that when I got to Wales, you know. At some point, I was paying my fees myself while studying university. It was either I face my challenges and overcome, or I just go back to square one. So,
Yeah.
and most times when humans are faced with no other option, your prefrontal cortex is forced to think. The brain will come alive. And I've seen that happen time and time again. You know, the funny thing I notice about money is most people will tell you they don't have £5,000, but when their visa is about to expire, they always pay for it. And then I feel like if I put my brain in a position where I have to think about things, I quit my job. I was a carer, right? And it's a very noble profession, but it was not my dream. So I quit. I stopped working. I said, when hunger kills me, I'll find a way. My friend Femi is here. I used to live off his salary. I used to borrow money from my friends, and they'll be like, "You are crazy." I didn't care because I felt like that 1 year was brutal. That was 2023. It put a strain on everything, but I told myself it's either I go through this 1 year of suffering and delayed gratification, or this might not go the way I want it to be. And truly, when you find yourself in a situation where it's all or nothing, most people will survive.
Yeah, I think it's like fundamentally burning the bridge behind you. I know
Straight
that there
up.
is no going back,
Yeah.
or just burning the boat right to the sea
Like,
and I'll swim.
I'm a young man now with no commitments. I don't have a child that's, I'm like,
Yeah.
I have to put in the work now.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I did
Before that commitment.
before it
So you
comes,
be
because
doubly ready for it.
100%, because now if it comes through now, I speak to a lot of young fathers, and the vibe is I'm now living for my kids. A lot of people, a lot of young fathers have buried their dreams, and it's mixed feelings for them, because on one hand, they're happy to be a dad. On the other hand, it's like, I could have done more. So for me, I'm like, I know the goals I set for myself. I know what I told God I wanted to achieve in this town. And I will not settle for less.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. So the point of okay, I'm living for my children. I'm living for. But even the good book says a good father leaves an inheritance.
Yes, sir.
So if you just kill your dreams, how would you teach them resilience? How will you teach them to fight challenges? How will you teach them to show up for themselves?
Sure.
So I believe that in spite of all we go through as fathers, as husbands, or as family people, we must live that dream. It's going to be challenging. I mean, we'll talk about the challenges soon, but in spite of all that you'll go through in terms of the challenges, you must show up. You must stand up
100%.
for your dreams.
100%.
Yeah. So from the outside, people see sold out shows and big names, but what's the parts of your journey people don't really see?
I'm quite open about it, because I know some people who try to make it look effortless.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Like, let people know. Like, let the other guys coming up know the reality.
That is what we are trying to curate here.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, that there is a back end to all of these.
100%.
And people need to know that. And this is what I honestly don't really like, when people tell you all the good sides, the rosy side, the icing on the cake, but they don't tell you what goes into that.
100%. Like, a sold out show could still be a loss. That's one thing you should understand. You can have a packed venue, and at the end of the night, you don't have money to pay the doorman.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a business of entertainment.
Tell me more about that, please.
It happened to me with Spyro. No, with Buju.
Wow.
Buju cancelled. He changed the date. He said he's not coming to the UK. I had sold what I'd spent all my money. I lost like £5,000. I've done events where I've lost 10K. Kept going though. Of course, the more I'm doing it, I learn. There's no form of, when you seek knowledge, you act.
Yeah.
And when you act and experiences, occur, you learn very quickly. So for me, it's like, at some point, at some point, for like 2 years, I slept in Daniel's house. Then I slept in Sami's house.
You didn't have a house at the time?
Nope. And I didn't care.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a post I wrote on Instagram. More young people should embrace shame and embarrassment. A lot of people would be great, but they sort of have shame, right?
Yeah.
There's this quote that I read that I love. If it will not affect you in 10 years, don't spend 10 minutes worrying about it. While I was homeless, I was still controlling OTID. Like, because I understand, like, I've always had that long-term vision of this is where we are going to. Yeah. So even right now, certain things don't bother me. Like, I've not felt peer pressure. The only time I felt something like that was not peer pressure. It was more like imposter syndrome. When I've been in rooms and I feel like I'm not meant to be here. You know, but peer pressure to say somebody, nah, brother, I do things on my own actually, like, because I understand where I'm going to, and I've seen it time and time again. This too shall pass. You know, trends and all of that. Nah, I didn't care when I was homeless, bro, because I knew I was going somewhere. While I was homeless, I was still having meetings. Victor is going to watch this podcast. Victor will walk into my room. Victor and I will probably not eat it since morning. I'm on the phone telling the client, well, I don't think £4,000 will everything cut it. I don't think it's for now. He's looking like at me like, what's this guy? And he'll be like, are you normal? Till now, Victor doesn't get it. But you see, we walk by faith and not by sight. And not by sight, right? It's like your understanding of certain people in the Bible make you say, okay, but David was so hungry, he walked into the holies of holies to go and eat bread. You know, you look at certain people in the Bible and their journey, you know, it's sweet to read, but put yourself in that shoe, running from cave to cave, and somebody has told you are going to be the king. You don't understand. It's like, when I look at those people and I visualize what their life would have been like, I'm like, nah, I'm on the right journey. You know, and please, if you're young, just embrace shame and do it. It has to be done. Leave all the fugazi. Like, real life is different. Like, I've never just been a fan. I'm not a performative person, right? So I don't know how to pretend. You know, I just do it. I do what I think is important. You know, I remember growing up with a dad and I'm like, I want to get a new phone. He's like, why? Why? My father, he will say, it doesn't matter. I'm like, yes, but now I have not changed. Okay. My iPhone 12, if you look at it, my cameras are broken. I've used this phone for 4 years. It's not going to move me once because it doesn't matter. Like, some things don't matter. Focus on what matters, right? Well,
so talking about shame and vulnerability,
100%.
I just like that part because a lot of us just fake it. And there's this thing about faking it until you make it. I don't know where place of that, but if, just like you said, we will go through the valley of shadow of death. We'll go through all of it. We'll go, just like you mentioned, David, running from cave to cave. But already the anointing to be a king is on him.
Straight up.
We'll go through all of these, but you need to accept the fact that you could be vulnerable. You could go through this shame and this guilt, but you know this too will pass away.
Yeah, fake it to make it is perception. There's a quote that says you are who you pretend to be. It's like a child at the age of 5 dresses up as a lawyer and says, I'm a lawyer. They're obsessed about being a lawyer. They go to school to study law. Eventually that person becomes a lawyer. I think in the process of doing, you become.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of now living a fake life. Living a fake life is trying to compensate for the hard work. If you are actually working towards it, like, bruh, now we are genuinely having partnerships with the government and doing stuff with them. Well, I said this when I was in Free Forest. I used to send emails. When I met Von Getten, you know, the former first minister who sponsored the event, I showed him a post and a tweet I made 2 years before saying I was going to meet him. And I think that was what made him eventually agree to open up the Senate to us. He was shocked. And thank God I tweeted it. So he was, he was there. And I said I was going to meet him and I was going to support him. And this is what we're doing. But as I then, did I know him? No, but I was in the act of doing, as we walk in faith, as we do the stuff, God makes it real, man.
Yeah. So why fake it when you can actually walk towards it?
Walk towards it, yeah.
Because
I think maybe it's the act of walking towards it that people
for some people it is just fake it.
Just smoke and this in mirrors.
Just pretend that you are there when you're not there yet. Because you made a very, very valid point about the doing. Going through the process.
The funny thing is that when you meet people at the top, they know that you are struggling because they've also struggled.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When I met Donna One, the manager of Thames, and I delayed him for 2 hours after the Thames event. And he said, "How are you going back?" I said, "I'm going to sleep in the train station because I don't have money." And he said, "You remind me of how I was when I was in the UK." It's fact, but he has gone through that.
Oh.
And it's okay. So why are you faking? Those guys that you are faking to look like, they understand the struggle they've gone through. It's like, just get the real things done, man.
Yeah, and we can actually get there if we put the hard work.
Yes, put in the work.
Do the needful, yeah. Yeah, so you said earlier that even smart people sometimes focus on wrong things.
Yeah.
Especially when chasing visibility. Why do you think that trap is so common today?
Because social media rewards highlight. Not work. Putting in the work is hard, so you might as well just jump to the part of the result. It's like Fola, my friend, part of OTID, he does all our creative work. He lost a lot of weight and he's now a bodybuilder. And he posted his before and after, and the comments were wild. How can I do this? How can I do that? But because I know Fola, it took him 2 years of consistently dieting and going to the gym. There are nice ways Fola will say, "Man, I'm so hungry. Go and eat now. I cannot eat." Now, you don't see that. All you see is a 15 seconds clip.
Yeah.
Of before and after. And in social media, dopamine, you like, you share, but it's taking him like a lot of time. And I think people focus on just that dopamine rather than putting in the work.
Exactly.
You rather just quickly get the likes and comments rather than ghosting. And again, that can give people this idea that if you are not posting and if you are not updating people, you are backwards in life, or your mates are ahead of you or something. It's okay to take time off the...
So that's the faking it aspect apart we're talking about.
Yeah, and
because they want to fake all of this,
and
show up on Facebook.
It can come from genuine pressure, right? Because you see everybody seems to be doing well online, right? And you think, wow, am I the only one that is stuck here? But I personally, I ghost. Like sometimes I work on myself and I know that the results will speak for itself. The results will eventually speak for itself. Like, you can go away for 5. And again, because we are young, our concept of time is not mature. Like, if I tell a 5-year-old person to sit down for 10 minutes, 10 minutes seems like a lot to them.
Exactly. I've got children, so
so it's like, 1 hour, why? But as you get older, your concept of time changes. So now, I'm ready to go silent for 5. I used to say it then. I said I would do OTID to the age of 32, and if it doesn't work, I'll eventually get a 9 to 5. But if I don't put in those, that amount of work and spend those years doing this, I will still get to the age of 32. So it's okay to take time off and do the real work. You will still be celebrated. Yeah. Even if Instagram is not there, there'll be a version of social media that will tell your listening story. So I'm happy to do the hard work. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I would say that you are doing phenomenally well. You're doing so well. And
the stories,
the stories are out there now for all to see. Because you've got a very interesting story. The back end of it, all the sleepless nights, the homelessness, and all of that.
Yeah,
and this is reality. Today, that's in the past.
Yeah, by God's grace, we hope so. It was the homelessness that inspired our annual homeless outreach. This year we're doing it in collaboration with Soul Connect. Because every year, the year I was homeless in Daniel's house was the year I started it. Every Christmas we go out to the streets and we give out palliatives to the homeless around Cardiff. But I won't say it's past me because my biggest challenges might still be in front. The more the grace and calling on your life, the bigger
Yeah, definitely. For
challenges,
every step you take, there's a challenge to deal with.
100%.
Yeah, there's a Goliath to face. For
100%.
every major stride you make, there's a challenge to face, definitely. But there are certain things that, by the grace of God, those things are.
By God's grace.
Those things are over. I was going to ask you something about stewardship and about community, and you just touched a bit about it. So your work touches community, culture, and representation. Do you ever feel a sense of responsibility beyond just business, almost like a sense of stewardship?
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't plan for it. So it's like when I go, like Clark, the awards for cultural hero, I told Clark specifically not to nominate me. And he went ahead and nominated me for it. But I don't see myself as one. I think sometimes I just think I'm doing the right thing or the common sense thing or the thing that somebody just has to do. Like when we started OTID, we were speaking to like a lot of the top guys, like, oh, bro, why are you not doing events? Like, we've been thinking about it. I'm like, okay, somebody has to do it, and it's just going to be me. And it comes naturally, so I don't force it. Like even with the Amplified project, pushing for the first ever Wales music chart, I'm like, well, it makes sense, and I'm in this industry, and somebody has to do it because I think a lot of people are very individualistic, but they don't look at the system as a whole. Because if you think for the entire system, it's like if this house does not have a roof, and everybody, when rain falls, does like this. Well, if I build the roof, when the rain falls the next time, I don't get wet. So it's like, you know what, even if the rest of you don't see it, I'm going to do it for my own benefits. And that's genuinely the mind I went with. But I noticed that your progress can sometimes touch other lives.
Right.
And they'll be grateful to you and like, oh, wow, okay. Someone comes up to me and like, oh, we are able to do events at so and so venue now, and we are respected as this or that because you fought for this. Was that when I was fighting for it, I probably was not thinking about you. I was just saying it's the right thing to do.
Exactly.
And I think over time I've now been tagged that, but I genuinely didn't set out saying this is what I wanted. I just felt like, if it has to be done, somebody's just gonna do it.
So you are really involved with community services and charity kind of.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. It's like I love seeing transformation.
Right.
And I think like sometimes because a lot of people have also helped me on my journey, I have the responsibility to also help someone else. And when it comes to speaking up for my community, I don't just like stuff that is not fair or like there are some things that I'm not comfortable with, like people being happy when they're the only black person in the room. They call 50 of us, or the black. Why is that? Why should you be happy? Like we should have more of us there, or you should lead the room. Like I just feel like there's more to me and there's more to what my community can achieve, and nobody should ever box you or give you the win. And because of that, I'm vocal about what I do, and I'm looking for other young people to speak up, and try to achieve great things. I hate it when I hear, oh, within this community we are the best. Why can't we just be the best? Why does it have to be within this community? You don't understand. So it's like, and the act of speaking up and scattering those glass ceilings and breaking the barriers, I think the community then says, wow, you're doing great stuff for us.
Yeah.
But I want more people to think like me. No, not like me. Think like yourself, but do stuff within your community that is hard. those barriers that seems like they're impossible or is how it has always been done, you know, challenge it and do things differently. Yeah, 100%. I'll always advocate for us being great, you know. Yeah.
I'll take you back a bit. You said something like some of the challenges you've gone through that come from community more than from outside. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, his vision. It's like when Jesus said he was going to die and Peter said, it's like from a human perspective, like if my friend tells me I'm going to die, I'll say no. But Jesus, who understood the bigger vision, rebuked him. It's like when we used to do OTID events in Trade Forest, my friends would be playing FIFA. I'll come in and I'll turn off the like Osamagbe, God Jesus. Is it not just events at the school? Why are you being so you overdo things for just which one is meeting? I'm hearing, I'm like, no, let's come, please run it. Well, because I knew where we're eventually going to be.
Exactly.
You don't understand? But I don't get angry anymore. I just see it as, well, some people are myopic and, you know, they won't just get it until they eventually see it actualize, you know. But other people have foresight and like, I get where you are going to. So it's okay. Just get it done anyways. You are the vision bearer. Not everyone
believe in it.
Believe in it,
Yeah. So you are clearly playing the long game, building things that might not fully pay off for years. How do you stay committed to that vision when short-term pressure is real?
It's legacy now. I think like, bruh, there's 7 billion people that might live for what? Approximately 70 years. In the grand scheme of things, we are all quite insignificant. Like sometimes I look at like the galaxies and all, I'm like, if I leave out my religion that says I'm a god and I'm here for a purpose, like I would just look at everyone has their own lives and their own things going on. So if I'm going to exist on earth, I must be here for a reason, right? Like, why am I here? And my father says to me, Osamagbe, you are not a biological mistake. You're a spirit, you have a soul, and you live in a innocent body. You know, like the Bible says, before you were born, I knew you. You know, and I look at people like John the Baptist, who was just born to be the forerunner. Man lived in the wilderness. And like, if I see John the Baptist today, I'd probably run away from that guy, bro. Like, but he came here to fulfill that role. So you're like, okay, so why am I here? I always tell my friends, like, I'm not going to suffer and do the middle class thing. Like, I'm going to become what I think I'm on earth to achieve. Like, I feel everyone should find that purpose, that thing that genuinely keeps you going. It can't just be on earth to pay bills. Like, nah, man, because I don't believe I was just born. You know, I believe I'm here for a reason, and my consciousness tells me that. So if I do things that I want to outlive me, it's because I believe I'm here to do that. You know, even in Wales, like certain things I do. And people are like, you know, you're an immigrant, you just came 7 years ago and stuff. Like, why? But I believe I was brought here this time and this season to get that thing done. You know, and it's that belief that keeps me going, you know, knowing that one day we'll eventually leave the earth and it's whatever you've done that you'll be remembered for.
Yeah, so like, was it Miles Muro who says that we should live full and die empty?
Live full, die empty.
And he also talks about the fact that we're not here to, you're here, you're born, get married, raise children, pay bills, and then you die. We're here for something bigger.
Yeah.
We're here for something that can outlive us. And generations yet unborn can say that, yes, there's somebody who did this and
100%.
it's also possible for me to do this. And that is it.
Yeah.
That is it. So legacy is a very fundamental aspect of purpose, because it's what makes you wake up at 2 a.m., at 1 a.m., at 10 p.m. and say, look, this needs to be done.
Yeah.
This needs to be done. We've got no time. Just like you said, 70 years. I was saying to a friend last night, I said, all of us will be dead. Everyone in the world will be dead the next 100 years.
100%.
Everyone will be dead.
100%, yeah.
At best, maybe 110 or 120.
Yeah.
All of us will be gone.
And that's a very short time in the grand scheme
We
of
don't even
things.
see that. That's the saddest part.
It's a very short time in the grand scheme of things. I don't really let nothing bother me. But you can ask my friends, I worry about the things that people shouldn't worry about. It is my friends get angry because I don't worry about the important things. You don't understand. We probably because I'm like, oh, nah, that'll be fine. And I could worry about getting my food ready before 10.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the grand scheme of things, it's insignificant.
Exactly.
Nah, I do something embarrassing and you laugh at me. Well, in the next 100 years, we'll be dead. And on that understanding of it really makes me calm. And I just, do what I want to do based on purpose, That's it.
And what I say sometimes is the fact that by the time we are 60, we cannot do so many things.
100%,
So even if you're going to live to 120, for some people say, no, I want to be gone when I'm 120, even 150. But by the time you are 60, there's so many things you can no longer do.
Yep. I told my dad, I said, with all due respect, I'm going to study sound engineering because when I'm on my deathbed, you will not be the one regretting. A lot of people, a lot of older folks regret what they did not do.
Exactly.
Not necessarily what they did. You speak to people, I spoke to a lot of people and they're like, Osama, don't stop because when we were your age, we wanted to do so many things like this, but we never did it. So stuff like that keep me going. I'm going to die empty. By God's grace, I hope to do all before I go to the grave. I recorded my first music for Amplify Music Network, and the song is about the invasion of Benin in 1897 by the English. There's an agency I just signed up with who they approached me for a role for an acting gig. I want to explore everything from business to my creative side to my spirituality. There's so many talents that I believe everyone is born with, but some people do not exploit. You don't understand. We are multifaceted human beings. We're born with so many gifts, right? And I'm going to explore all of that and live life in my own way, not in a conventional way. I've had many people tell me, oh, this is not normal. Why can't we be normal? I can't, bro, experiment, bro.
Exactly.
Just get your things done. Live life on your own terms. I live sometimes like a hippie, man. I just do things how I want to do them.
Yeah, exactly. So the point we made earlier of fathers who are now living their lives for their children.
Yeah.
And then abandoning their dreams, their goals and all of that. I mean, you should live out your dreams. I mean, lying on that casket, you should say that, yes, we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. On that casket, when you're gone, you said, we did it.
100%.
Yeah, that is it for me. So now, from your experience, what does African possibility actually look like in practice?
There's this thing of African people blaming the leaders, but the leaders come from within the community. I'll explain why.
People.
Yeah. I'm from those states, right? I love my culture so much, but I'm very ashamed of the governors we've had. I saw a video 2 days ago. A Nigerian police officer shot a guy dead in broad daylight. It took the death of George Floyd for some people have jobs today across the world in Europe because one man in the US died and was filmed. We filmed a guy getting shot in broad daylight and Nigerians still carried on. Because when you are around so much pain, you begin to get numb to it. Living in Nigeria has made me very sensitive to certain things here.
Exactly.
There's no way in this country we will film a police officer shooting a black person to death. The streets will be closed. Some people would have lost their jobs by now. But I feel like my people have been around so much pain that we are now numb to things. I genuinely don't know. I can't speak for Africa broadly, 54 countries. I've only lived in one. But for Nigeria specifically, it will take more people with sympathy to change the country. It will take people that can relate to pain without experiencing that pain, right? I watched a session of El Rufai, who was speaking at Harvard Business School. That man is brilliant. For his governance and for his morals, I can't tell. Our leaders are well educated. But the thing is, politics itself is dreadful. Here, the politicians, they tell you if you want to get money, go to your business. They are obsessed with the state. They want to govern. A lot of them dream about governing from when they are kids. It's like eating, right? They groom you to govern. Boris, there was a funny article about Boris when he was eating, and he told the girl to delete it because he said I was going to become the prime minister one day. A lot of Nigerians also had that dreams when they were in secondary school, but there was no pipeline to get them there. There are Nigerians who would genuinely put down their life for Nigeria, but there's no pipeline to get. Look at the heads of states like Buhari, that generation. They were in their 20s and 30s when they seized they seized power. But for young people in Nigeria now, they do not. We are the generation of Nigerians that did not see a good Nigeria, and it is dangerous, right? My father's generation still hold up to that hope. He went to the University of Ibadan when people would come into these hotels and clean the room. You go to school, your name is published in the newspaper, and you got admission. My father's generation, it was more prestigious to school in UI than to travel outside the country. In my own generation, students got killed for protesting in Edo State. It's like Nigerian possibility. We would thrive. Like Nigerians adapt, which is a problem, and also like a good thing. It's a double-edged sword. Like we adapt to problems very quickly, and then you become numb to problems. But it's because we adapt quickly that I think the people in power get away with a lot. Here, if you increase fuel price by 50p, like people are talking about what's going on, the cost of living. Nigerians will find a way to continue paying, and if you cannot pay, you shut up. And they will broke shame the people that cannot pay to say, "Oh, I don't get money."
Right.
Like we've become a very materialistic nation that just consume, right? If a young person in Nigeria today doesn't talk about like money, they don't see you as a person of value. Our value system is broken. Like, I've been with professors that have given their entire life to studying a very niche thing. And when they come and they speak to like ministers or people in power, everyone has to listen based on your value. The value system is broken. Like everything is all about money and it's all like materialistic. And I don't genuinely see that possibility, which is quite sad. You know, I see my people still being able to survive, but without a system that rewards, because what you give incentives to matters. Like in school, a lot of us studied sciences because sadly there was this unspoken thing of if you study science, you are smart. So a lot of people wanted to be like. Meanwhile, here, if you notice, a lot of the people that govern study politics, philosophy, economics, history. Right? Too many things are broken. Like we are incentivizing the wrong things. And I'm scared because the people that will come after this generation, they will meet a Nigeria that is so messed up that will be their only reality.
But is there any glimmer of hope that you see in Nigeria at the moment?
We are a young country, which is what I want to believe, right? I believe like other countries have probably gone through this phase. You know, I speak with a guy who I was on this podcast last week. You should interview him about African possibilities. He probably will not do this interview because he doesn't believe in that. In fact, the title of his first podcast was Pan-Africanism is Dead. He doesn't believe in it. He believes that each country and each tribe should be sort of independent, like he's a nationalist and stuff. But maybe because he's an historian, he studied history at Oxford and now he's in Cambridge, he sees time differently. Because he reads things from like 15th century. So because he has that vast knowledge of history, to him, Nigeria 62 years is almost like we're in a baby phase. So maybe a generation will come that will eventually get tired. But in fact, even our politics, there's this unspoken rule where that the president is a thug and then the vice president is sane. There are so many things that are so messed up. And what pains me is that if a Nigerian watches this podcast, a Nigerian in Nigeria, unless their level of exposure is quite high, they will see me as another person in the diaspora that is ranting. I cannot explain it, but when I left Nigeria, I was like, I'm done. But when I got here, I just started hating the leadership more because you realize that it's not rocket science. Like when you're in Nigeria, some things seem very overwhelming. When I watched the video of that guy getting shot, I was like, sometimes I wish I could forget that I was Nigerian, so I don't even bother reading the news. But I don't know.
So do you think that one of the major issues just is leadership?
No, you can't just say that though, because look at how people become leaders. You like here, you can call out the leadership because we know there are other competent people that are ready to run. Like if I was here, sometimes I sit back and I just envy them because even though you have like Reform or you have Labour or you have Plaid, we all know that when they get in, they're still genuinely passionate about the betterment. They just have a different approach. Privatize the NHS to make it more effective. No, leave it with the government to make it free and accessible. But at the end of the day, they're fighting for healthcare. Like there, what?
So is that passion? Passion for their land they have, which we fundamentally don't have. Our leaders do not have.
We do, but in the process of getting there, their conscience dies. It's the system. Like, a lot of them genuinely go into this with like, I want to change something. And again, politics is too lucrative in Nigeria. My dad said growing up, when somebody wins election, like his generation would say, oh, it's their time to chop. Like, I could make feel-good statements like, yeah, Africa will be great, Nigeria will be great, but do I see it? I don't know how. Like, a revolution does not necessarily equate to the right people being in power, does it? Because there's this British show I watched called Yes, Minister. And it's all about how the minister is almost like a figurehead and the civil service really does the work. It's like the president is one man. If the system is rotten, you cannot really do much. Here, the value is instilled in them. You would drink with, like my white friends would drink with me, 5 a.m. he's going to work. That value of I work, I earn. Dignity in labor.
Right.
Yeah. It has to be instilled in you. Due process. Please send it to me via email. Those no short corners, even in their day-to-day interaction.
So it's more like the people need to be reoriented. But that's what people like late Dora Akunyili started with that reorientation program, Nigeria First, and all of that kind of stuff. And it's going to take time.
It will take time.
We are already there because we know these things. Africans know that this is what we need.
Do we?
Yeah. I agree completely that Africans know that this is the pathway. And there's just that gap that it is about, just like you said, I'm now in power. It is my time to chop. Right?
Because...
And if you've got people behind you who are looking up to you, who need that money from you,
Yeah,
they will
and
support whatever shenanigans you do in government.
that's one.
Unfortunately so.
Yeah, and again, there's still like blurry lines, tribalism, right?
Nepotism and all.
The contract for St. David's,
Yeah.
it was published on the government website. I sent an email and we won. Like in Nigeria, can a young boy in his 20s send an email to Aso Rock and say this is what, like, so many things are broken that like it's if they explain Nigeria, like there's people say if a person explains Nigeria to you and you understand, you do not explain it well. I saw a tweet where someone called out the governor for a very deep pothole, and a person captioned it saying, in Nigeria, it's more feasible for the governor to arrest him than the governor to fix that pothole. And everybody understood that what he was saying was this true. What pains me is that anyone in the diaspora watching this will get my pain, but people back home might not. And why do I say this? When my cousins used to come from abroad then, and they rant about everything, I'm like, why are you ranting? They're like, oh, I paid for my this and it was late. I'm like, it's normal, the person will come tomorrow. I think because I just think that it's, if you don't know another world, Nigeria seems normal, which is painful. You know, boy, like, I wish people could really be exposed to a different reality. I didn't understand what it meant to be a citizen till I was here. I'm like, oh, so if you're a citizen, you get this benefit, and non-citizens don't get this. Like, because in Nigeria, we buy our own you buy your house, you put solar panel, you put generator, you pay a gatesman, you pump your own water, you donate to have security. What is the government now doing? For now, maybe in the far future, there'll be an awakening that might come from great exposure. Like, was it Daniel? They said that he learned through books at the time of slavery. Like, it's knowledge. There'll have to be an awakening of people. It's like, why did Moses, like they say, he grew up in the palace so that him growing up with that privilege, that was why he was irritated. Because you need, you know what? My theory is people from the diaspora, like us, who have come and seen a different reality, might go back home and challenge the system. And because you've seen a different reality, you might not bend. It's like, if you look at the great innovations, like Waka now, the CEO used to work for Amazon. So he came to Nigeria with a system that was never seen. And he didn't take the shortcut because he had worked for Amazon. So we see it a lot in the entrepreneurship space, where a lot of the tech founders and guys, they doing great stuff there, either studied at MIT or this or that, you know, so they come back and they're really rigid about stuff. So maybe for leadership as well, we might see a trend where people who have been in the diaspora might go back and want to get into it.
That is the hope for me. That is the hope for me.
Really? I think that's the only logical thing that I can think of. You know. But again, I hope something changes, because it breaks my life. Nigeria as a whole, sad. Like, when I even think of Benin, and because I love my people and the history and all, and Edo State and what Edo State is like today, is sad, man. Like, I've not read good news from that state in a while. It breaks my heart for real.
Yeah. All right, so we're rounding up now. So if there's someone listening right now, maybe in Wales and Nigeria or any part of Africa or the world, who feels unseen but knows they have something to offer, what will you say to them?
Great things take time. I don't understand. If you feel unseen, you might still be baking. You don't understand. Like, Ashake, when he broke out, everyone was like, he said, I just blew, but I know my set. It was in an incubator. It might take a while, you know. And the good thing I've noticed now in the music industry, artists who become famous later on in their lives tend to stay longer than they don't make foolish mistakes. You see Paul, learned lawyer, well-educated. When he became a Christian, he wrote half of the New Testament. that period that you think you are behind, that might be your incubation period.
Right.
In Nigeria, my friends called me dropout when they saw me at parties. And I think, I've always been, I think, you know what? My father taught me shame. I was still, because I was doing concerts that they were coming to attend. And they will see me not in the concert, they will see me, I was a rigger, meaning that I used to carry the speakers inside trucks. But that same thing that paid me £5,000 is what's feeding me today. 5,000 naira is what is feeding me to today. It's like, and I still believe there are certain things I'm going through now, and I'm in my incubation period.
Right.
So if you feel unseen, go through the process.
Right.
Refine yourself. And if it's a question of visibility and how you position yourself, like Bible says, when you light the candle and put it on under the embed, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Right? The good thing is that because there's so many fakes, original will stand out now.
Right.
You don't understand. So go through the incubation process, and when the time is right, make sure you step into the light. Arise and shine.
Yeah, so our signature question as we round up, before I ask you the previous guest question, is when you think about the future, what is one possibility for Africans across the world that gives you the most hope?
AI.
Right.
A child in ChatGPT, a child in Nigeria can ask ChatGPT a question and get a genuine answer. That decentralization of information, and it's no longer in the hands of one person.
Right.
We can access information from anywhere in the world in real time. I hope what will happen eventually is that they'll begin to learn about history and who they are. I was still taught that some guy called Mungo Park discovered River Niger. I realized I was not even taught about Black heroes. We don't even look at ourselves and aspire. Like, when Professor Uzo, I'm like, why did you fight so much for Black history to be taught in schools? There are young guys in Grange Town that train football every day because there's one player from their community at the national level. We were not even taught our heroes. We're not taught like people that invented, Black inventors. I went through school learning about Thomas Edison, and we're not even taught about Black American inventors or Black people. Like, so many things are wrong. But I hope that education, like decentralized education, the one outside the outdated curriculum that is not written to favor the Black man, the one that is for them, I hope it will inspire them to have an awakening. Is that general consciousness of who we are and what we can be that will really change things. Right. That's how I see it.
Right. So, last question from the previous guest.
Yeah.
2-in-1 questions. First, what advice will you give to the future generation? And secondly, what will you want to be best remembered for?
Advice to future generation, I don't know, just do you. Do you. You can only be the best version of yourself. And it sounds simple, but along the journey, you will find times where you might feel the need to become someone else, or you might feel the need to act a certain type of way to be accepted in the room, or you might feel like if you don't move a certain way, you will not be respected, you will not be seen, you will not be heard. But do you, like, when people say do you and the world will adjust, they will. Like, for a very long time, I was not comfortable just being me. I tried too many, like the accents, because I thought like people will not understand what I'm saying. But now I just do me. I'm authentic to who I am. Like, I'm Nigerian. You don't understand? I'm from Edo States, and I hold much affinity to Wales. Sometimes I call myself a Welshman. My Welsh name is Ian. And I think when you do you, the good thing is that there's this energy that comes with being you that is genuine, right? And people can sense it. Right. When I talk to people about the projects that I work on, I'm so excited about it. I'm so, like, I get excited like a child, and they can sense that energy, and they just love it. And where do I see myself? That is the second question.
Best remembered for.
what I was best remembered for?
Yeah.
I mean, if I even get remembered at all, that itself is a big thing. If that even happens, you don't understand. Like my children will probably not know who my grandfather is. Neither do I know who his own father's father is. A lot of people sort of overrate themselves, man. A lot of people have been forgotten. 7 billion people on this planet. Probably less than 1 million of us are known worldwide. If I even have that privilege to be remembered for something, I would love it. But if I want to be remembered, I don't know. Maybe for challenging systems.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe for challenging systems and not conforming.
Status quo, yeah.
Yeah, because it's easy to conform. Because the closer you get to the system, the more you understand why the system runs that way.
Yeah.
That's an interesting conversation. Because sometimes I challenge, like, why is this funding allocated this way? And when you speak to the board and they tell you why, it makes total sense. But at the same time, I got there with the energy of it is not the right thing. But can I still say that while I'm in that system? So most people will fold. But I hope I get remembered for something like that. I'm scared that at some point in my life I would want to go to Nigeria to become like a sacrifice. You understand? Because it's the willingness to die.
Yeah.
That's the
That changes
truth.
things, yeah.
Yes, that's the truth. If you are willing to die, you don't understand. And I genuinely mean it. Maybe that's when you really not be forgotten. If you are willing to be vocal, because it's your understanding of a greater calling. I corrected a preacher once that said Jesus died a premature death so that we can live long. The death was not premature. He fulfilled all in there to do, and he left at that age. All that was written about Methuselah was that he had wives and children. There was nothing else. He did not live a great life. So I think if I want to be remembered for something, even fella, he willingness to live this life and understand it's a higher calling. If you look at all the people that we remember, none of them really feared death. Martin Luther King and the rest, because they understand they understand there's a higher calling. You don't understand. So I think I'm scared that I'm scared. And why I say I'm scared is because I'm very impulsive. So I might wake up one day, especially for my states, those states, so much can be done with the history of Benin, with the history of the great empire that has fallen. Sometimes I wish I could just forget, but I can't. I got commissioned by the Arts Council for a project, and it was focused on that neo-colonization, and I spoke to historians to shape the music. And when I read it, there's so much great history that's just handled by jokers. Even the launch of the museum, we had people arrested. One of my friends was there. Liara, the founder of Jukebox, was right there from all the way from the UK to that drama room. It's like, maybe I want to remember for one day running for. I would one day probably want to be the governor of Edo State, not Nigeria presidential now. Edo State, and really show my people like a different light. Maybe.
Yeah.
That's my conclusion. Yeah.
So hopefully, when you become governor someday, I'll show you this podcast and we'll take it up from there again.
Yeah, maybe, but that's when that happens, and I probably made up my mind that if I die doing this, then it's fine. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Osama. Thank you for your time. Thank you for opening up, and thank you.